Former U.S. Army intelligence analyst Bradley Manning has now been found guilty in a military court of espionage and leaking thousands of classified government files to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was quick to react.
This is the first ever espionage conviction against a whistleblower in the United States. It is a dangerous precedent and an example of national security extremism.
Manning was acquitted of the most serious charge of aiding the enemy. His sentencing hearing begins today. Joining us now from Ottawa is lawyer and retired Canadian Forces Colonel Michel Drapeau. Good to see you, Colonel.
Good. Thank you.
We've got a lot to talk about, so let me get straight to it. What happened? What's the reason why he was found not guilty on the more serious charge of aiding the enemy, yet found guilty on 20 other convictions, 20 other charges?
Yeah, to my mind, reason is quite simple. The Crown or the U.S. government has not been able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And the most difficulty, the big obstacle for them to try to get a conviction in here would have been to try to prove a willful intent on his part. In other words, Manning would have leaked these documents with the intent of aiding the enemy. And of all the news reports that I've heard over the past 3 years, I haven't seen a scintilla of evidence to that particular effect. Certainly, he wanted to embarrass his government. He wanted to leak the information. He wanted to make the public, the American public, aware of what he was, what he saw. He was very naive in doing so, and what he did is very reprehensible. But did he have the willful intent to aid the enemy first, and second? One thing which hasn't been able to be proved, was there any arm? And if it is, what was it? So I think in view of that, the federal court judge had no choice but to find him non-guilty to that particular charge.
Okay, so his sentencing starts today. What is he facing, and how long could this process take? Well,
it could take at least a week or two, depending how much witnesses are brought into it. Probably there will be psychologists, former officers under whose command he was, maybe a school principal, who knows, try to prove his character, try to prove also his instability. There may be some argument also that he, as a gay soldier, was not particularly well looked after by his chain of command. They may also argue that he lacked the proper supervision from his chain. And to that effect, I think there will be some mitigating factors taken into account. So I would say anywhere between a week to 3 weeks could be the case, could be a lot shorter. Now, what kind of sentence could he face? He's already been in custody or in jail for 3 years, some of which in solitary. That would be taken into account. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a sentence within the 10 to 20 years range. I have no idea as to when he would be eligible for parole, but very certainly at the moment, the U.S. government will want to argue that his case in this era of telecommunication, easy access to classified information, and be able to leak it electronically overnight, there will be a strong deterrence that will want to be conveyed through a very harsh sentence. And particularly when we know that Mr. Snowden is still in Britain, in a case that is akin to his, I think, in Russia, I should say, I think we would also see them wanting to up the ante and having a high and as harsh a sentence as possible on Manning.
Yeah, no doubt Edward Snowden and his lawyers watching this case very carefully.
Very
Colonel
much
Michel Drapeau, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.